Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a time of rapid and undeniable change. The phrase unprecedented shift is no longer just a dramatic headline. It has become our reality. Today, we face a growing concern that demands our full attention. The storm threat of 2026 has not just increased, it has tripled. What does this mean? It means stronger winds tearing through communities with greater force than ever before. It means heavier rains overwhelming cities, floods reaching places that once felt safe, and storms forming faster, lasting longer, and hitting harder. The patterns we once relied on to predict weather are shifting beneath our feet. But this is not just about weather, it is about people. It is about homes, livelihoods, and futures. Farmers uncertain about their crops, families worried about safety, entire regions preparing for disasters that were once considered rare. So the real question is not if we should act, it is how fast we can respond. Preparedness is no longer optional, it is essential. Governments must strengthen infrastructure. Communities must improve early warning systems. Individuals must stay informed and ready. Every second of preparation today can save lives tomorrow. At the same time, we must look deeper. These intensifying storms are signals, warnings from our environment that something is out of balance. Addressing this challenge requires long-term thinking, smarter policies, and a collective commitment to protect our planet. But there is hope. Humanity has always risen in the face of challenge. With awareness, innovation, and unity, we can reduce risks, protect lives, and build a safer future. The storm threat may have tripled, but so can our determination, our resilience, and our action. Let us not wait for the next storm to remind us of what we already know. The time to act is now. Thank you. Storm threat has intensified. The risk of storms in 2026 has tripled, bringing stronger winds, heavier rainfall, and more destructive impacts than before. The storm threat we are facing in 2026 is no longer a distant possibility or a rare occurrence. It has intensified to a level that demands serious attention. Scientists and experts are observing a dramatic increase in the frequency, strength, and unpredictability of storms across the globe. What once used to be occasional extreme weather events are now becoming more common, more powerful, and far more destructive. The shift is not gradual, it is sharp, sudden, and deeply concerning. The idea that the storm threat has tripled is not just a figure of speech. It reflects a real and measurable escalation in danger. Storm systems are now forming with greater speed, giving communities less time to prepare or respond. Winds are reaching higher velocities, capable of destroying infrastructure that was once considered strong enough to withstand severe weather. Rainfall has become more intense, often falling in shorter periods, which leads to flash floods that overwhelm drainage systems and submerge entire neighborhoods. Coastal areas are especially vulnerable, where rising sea levels combine with powerful storms to create devastating surges that push water far inland, affecting areas that were previously considered safe. Another alarming aspect of this intensified threat is unpredictability. Traditional weather patterns are shifting, making it harder for experts to forecast storms accurately. Regions that rarely experienced such events in the past are now finding themselves directly in the path of severe weather. This unpredictability increases the risk factor significantly, because communities are often unprepared for disasters they do not expect. The impact of stronger storms also goes beyond immediate destruction. Power outages last longer, communication systems fail more frequently, and recovery becomes more difficult and costly. Roads, bridges, and essential services are disrupted, slowing down emergency response efforts when they are needed the most. In many cases, a single powerful storm can set a community back by years, both economically and socially. This growing intensity is a clear signal that the nature of storms is changing. The scale of damage they can cause is expanding, and the margin for error is shrinking. It is no longer enough to rely on past experiences or outdated preparation methods. The tripling of the storm threat highlights a new reality, one where extreme weather is not the exception but increasingly the norm. Impact on human life. These changes affect homes, livelihoods, farmers, and entire communities, increasing uncertainty and danger. The impact of increasingly powerful storms is not limited to damaged buildings or flooded streets. It reaches deeply into the lives of people, affecting their sense of safety, stability, and future. As storms grow stronger and more frequent, the human cost continues to rise in ways that are both visible and invisible. Families who once felt secure in their homes now live with uncertainty, knowing that a single storm could disrupt everything they have built over years. For many, the immediate danger is life-threatening. Strong winds can destroy homes within minutes, while sudden floods can trap people without warning. Evacuations, once rare, are becoming more common, forcing families to leave behind their belongings and seek temporary shelter. In such moments, fear and confusion take over, especially for children and the elderly, who are most vulnerable during emergencies. Beyond the immediate danger, the long-term effects are just as serious. After a storm passes, many people are left without electricity, clean water, or access to basic necessities. Communities can remain cut off for days or even weeks, making recovery slow and difficult. Schools close, businesses shut down, and daily life comes to a halt. For workers who depend on daily wages, even a few days without work can create financial hardship. Small business owners often face heavy losses, struggling to rebuild with limited resources. Farmers are among those most severely affected. Unpredictable storms can destroy entire crops in a matter of hours, wiping out months of hard work and investment. Flooded fields, damaged soil, and lost livestock leave them with little to fall back on. This not only affects their income but also impacts food supply, leading to rising prices and shortages that affect wider communities. The emotional and psychological impact cannot be ignored either. Living under the constant threat of extreme weather creates stress and anxiety. People begin to worry about the safety of their families, the security of their homes, and the uncertainty of the future. Repeated exposure to such disasters can lead to trauma, especially in areas that are hit frequently. Children growing up in these conditions may carry fear and instability with them for years. Entire communities can be displaced when storms cause large-scale destruction. People are forced to migrate in search of safer living conditions, often leaving behind their roots, culture, and social connections. This displacement creates additional challenges, such as overcrowding in safer areas and increased pressure on resources. In every sense, the growing strength of storms is not just an environmental issue, it is a human crisis. It affects livelihoods, health, education, and emotional well-being. The damage goes far beyond what can be repaired with money or infrastructure. It touches every aspect of life, making it clear that the true cost of these storms is measured in human experiences and struggles. Urgency of preparedness, immediate action is needed. Better infrastructure, early warning systems, and public awareness can save lives. The urgency of preparedness has never been greater than it is now. As the threat of powerful storms continues to rise, waiting until disaster strikes is no longer an option. Preparation must become a constant and active process, built into the way societies function rather than treated as a last-minute response. The reality is simple. The more prepared a community is before a storm arrives, the more lives can be protected and the faster recovery can begin. One of the most critical aspects of preparedness is strengthening infrastructure. Buildings, roads, bridges, and drainage systems must be designed or upgraded to withstand stronger winds and heavier rainfall. In many places, existing infrastructure was built based on older climate patterns that no longer apply. Without improvements, these systems are more likely to fail under pressure, leading to greater destruction and slower recovery. Investing in stronger, more resilient infrastructure is not just a precaution. It is a necessity for survival in the face of intensifying storms. Early warning systems also play a vital role. Accurate and timely information can make the difference between safety and disaster. communities need reliable ways to receive alerts about approaching storms, including mobile notifications, sirens, and broadcast systems. However, it is not enough to simply issue warnings. People must understand them and know how to respond. Clear communication, combined with public education, ensures that warnings lead to action rather than confusion or delay. Preparedness also requires planning at the community level. Evacuation routes must be clearly defined and accessible, shelters should be available and well-equipped, and emergency services need to be trained and ready to respond quickly. Drills and simulations can help people become familiar with what to do during a storm, reducing panic and improving coordination when real emergencies occur. When communities work together and support one another, their ability to handle crises improves significantly. At the individual level, preparedness means taking personal responsibility. Families should have emergency kits with essentials such as food, water, medical supplies, and important documents. Knowing safe places within the home, understanding evacuation plans, and staying informed about weather updates are all small steps that can have a huge impact during a crisis. These actions may seem simple, but in moments of danger they can save lives. Preparedness is not only about immediate survival, it is also about reducing long-term damage. When systems are in place and people are ready, the overall impact of storms can be minimized. Fewer lives are lost, property damage is reduced, and recovery becomes quicker and more efficient. This, in turn, lowers economic losses and helps communities return to normal life sooner. The growing intensity of storms has made one thing clear: reacting after the fact is no longer enough. Proactive measures, consistent planning, and a culture of readiness must take priority. Preparedness is not a one-time effort. It is an ongoing commitment that requires cooperation between governments, communities, and individuals. In a world where storms are becoming stronger and less predictable, being prepared is the strongest defense we have. Environmental warning signs. The rise in extreme storms reflects deeper environmental imbalance and signals the need for long-term solutions. The rising intensity and frequency of storms are not random events. They are powerful signals that point to deeper environmental imbalances. These changes in weather patterns reflect a shifting climate system that is being influenced by human activity and long-term ecological disruption. When storms grow stronger, last longer, and become less predictable, it indicates that natural systems are under stress and struggling to maintain their balance. One of the key factors behind this shift is the warming of the planet. As global temperatures increase, the atmosphere holds more moisture, which leads to heavier rainfall during storms. At the same time, warmer ocean waters provide more energy to storm systems, allowing them to intensify rapidly. This combination creates conditions where storms can grow stronger than what has been historically experienced. What once might have been a moderate storm can now escalate into a severe and destructive event within a short period. Deforestation and the loss of natural ecosystems also play a significant role. Forests act as natural barriers, absorbing rainfall, stabilizing soil, and reducing the risk of flooding and landslides. When these natural protections are removed, the land becomes more vulnerable to the impact of heavy storms. Similarly, the destruction of wetlands and coastal ecosystems reduces the natural defenses that protect inland areas from storm surges and rising water levels. Without these buffers, the full force of storms reaches communities with little resistance. Urbanization adds another layer of complexity. As cities expand, natural land is replaced with concrete and asphalt, which do not absorb water effectively. This increases runoff during heavy rains, leading to rapid flooding. Poorly planned urban growth can strain drainage systems and create conditions where even a short period of intense rainfall can cause widespread damage. In such environments, the impact of storms is amplified, turning what might have been manageable weather into a serious disaster. Air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions continue to accelerate these changes. The buildup of gases in the atmosphere traps heat, driving further warming and altering weather patterns on a global scale. These changes do not occur in isolation, they interact with one another, creating complex and sometimes unpredictable outcomes. This is why storms are not only becoming stronger, but also more difficult to forecast with precision. These environmental warning signs highlight the need for long-term solutions rather than temporary fixes. Addressing the root causes requires a shift in how energy is produced and consumed, how land is used, and how natural resources are managed. Sustainable practices, renewable energy, reforestation, and better urban planning are all part of the broader response needed to restore balance. The increasing severity of storms serves as a reminder that the environment is interconnected, and disturbances in one area can have far-reaching consequences. Ignoring these warning signs will only lead to greater challenges in the future. Recognizing them, however, provides an opportunity to take meaningful action and create a more stable and resilient world for generations to come. Hope through collective action with unity, innovation, and determination, people can reduce risks and build resilience against future disasters. Despite the growing intensity of storms and the serious challenges they bring, there remains a strong and realistic sense of hope rooted in collective action. History has shown that when people come together with purpose and determination, even the most difficult situations can be managed and overcome. The current situation is no different. While the risks may have increased, so has our ability to respond, adapt, and innovate in ways that can significantly reduce harm and build long-term resilience. One of the most powerful sources of hope lies in human innovation. Advances in technology have already improved our ability to monitor weather patterns, predict storms, and communicate warnings quickly and effectively. Early warning systems are becoming more accurate, giving people valuable time to prepare and evacuate if necessary. Engineers and architects are designing stronger, more resilient buildings that can better withstand extreme conditions. These developments show that progress is not only possible but already underway. Communities themselves are also becoming more aware and better organized. In many places, local groups are taking initiative by creating emergency response plans, conducting training exercises, and supporting vulnerable members of society. This sense of shared responsibility strengthens the overall ability to face disasters. When neighbors help one another and communities act as a united force, the impact of storms can be reduced, and recovery becomes faster and more effective. Governments and organizations around the world are increasingly recognizing the importance of preparedness and sustainability. Policies are being developed to improve infrastructure, protect natural ecosystems, and reduce environmental damage. Investments in renewable energy and sustainable practices are gradually addressing some of the root causes behind changing weather patterns. While progress may not always be as fast as needed, the growing awareness and commitment at different levels provide a foundation for meaningful change. Education also plays a critical role in building hope. When people understand the risks and know how to respond, they are less likely to panic and more likely to act wisely during emergencies. Awareness campaigns, school programs, and public information efforts help create a culture of preparedness that can save lives. Knowledge empowers individuals to make better decisions, both in moments of crisis and in everyday actions that contribute to a healthier environment. Resilience is not just about surviving storms. It is about adapting to a changing world and finding ways to move forward. Each challenge presents an opportunity to learn, improve, and strengthen systems that protect people and communities. Recovery efforts often lead to rebuilding in smarter and safer ways, reducing vulnerability to future events. The idea that the storm threat has tripled can feel overwhelming, but it also highlights the importance of rising to meet that challenge with equal strength. Determination, cooperation, and forward-thinking solutions can turn a difficult situation into an opportunity for growth. By working together, sharing knowledge, and taking consistent action, it is possible to reduce risks and protect the future. Hope does not come from ignoring the problem. It comes from facing it with confidence and a clear commitment to change.